Even before the rising glow of the Martian dawn, over the industrial sectors of Cydonia, the repair yards buzzed with activity. Transport vessels, varying from the smallest shuttles to mammoth freighters, hummed and groaned as engineers and repairmen alike worked tirelessly to restore them to functionality. The site was an intricate weave of human and machine, an enduring dance of creation and repair on a Martian canvas. Darius Moreau was one such repairman, a specter in the pre-dawn light. His hands moved with practiced precision over the hull of a battered cargo transport, the burn marks from a recent micrometeorite storm etched into its metal skin. He was a study of opposites, born and bred in the cramped and bustling metropolis of Hanoi, yet he preferred the vast emptiness of space. A wiry man of slight stature, yet possessed of a strength forged from years of low-gravity work. His hands were calloused, his skin perpetually smeared with grease and the red Martian dust. The transporters told stories. Each dent, each scorch mark, was a symbol of where the ship had been, what it had weathered. And Darius, he read them all. To him, they weren't just vehicles. They were silent voyagers that carried tales from far-off worlds. He had never left Mars, had never seen Earth's blue skies or the toxic magma seas of Io, but through these transporters, he had glimpsed the universe. Over the past decade at the repair yard, Darius had seen it all. But today was different. Today, as the Martian sun crept over the horizon and washed over the skeletal remains of a decommissioned Saturn tanker, he found his focus constantly veering away from his work and towards the depot's entrance. He was expecting someone, a valet, Cade. Cade wasn't just a valet, he was a friend, a childhood companion who dreamed of space as fervently as Darius. Their paths diverged when Cade took a gig as a valet for the shuttle pilots, ferrying pilots from the depot to the nearby city. But today, Cade had news. Darius spotted him then, a recognizable silhouette against the Martian sunlight. Cade approached with a confident stride, his hand waving energetically. He was grinning widely, the kind of grin that suggested something more than a mere visit. "Darius!" Cade shouted over the din of the repair yard, jogging to close the distance. "Got a second?" Setting down his tools, Darius wiped his grimy hands on his jumpsuit and nodded, his heart beating a familiar rhythm of anticipation. Cade had a knack for finding opportunities in the oddest places. Cade's brown eyes shone with an almost childlike excitement as he handed Darius a holotab. The words "off-world gig" blinked on the screen, and a pilot's name, Sela Anzo, glowed beneath it. Darius felt his breath hitch. Off-world. The thought sent chills down his spine, a mix of trepidation and exhilaration. "Heard you've been looking to catch a ride off this dusty rock," Cade said, his tone light, but his eyes were serious, understanding the gravity of the opportunity. "Where to?" Darius asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Cade's grin widened. "Europa. Heard they found something big under the ice. Need help setting up a research station. Signed you up." Darius stared at the tab for a long moment. He had always wondered where the ships he repaired had been and where they were going next. Now he had the chance to be aboard one of them, to see another part of the universe that wasn't just red sand and steel. "Think you can handle it?" Cade asked, clapping him on the shoulder. Darius squinted at the holotab, then leveled a hard gaze at Cade. "And what about you? Why aren't you on this roster?" Cade shrugged, his gaze steady on the Martian horizon. "Crew needs a repairman, not a pilot." The silence hung between them, heavy with implications. Cade wasn't just a pilot. He had the hands and the know-how of a tech. Could have bluffed his way into the gig. Hell, he could have kept his mouth shut and waited for a chance where they both could leave. Darius studied his friend, the usual joviality absent from Cade's face. He'd willingly grounded himself, all for Darius's chance. His gut churned with a sudden understanding of Cade's selfless act. Cade, ever the pilot, had navigated a course for Darius's dreams, even as he anchored his own to the red Martian dust. In the silence, in the flicker of understanding in Cade's eyes, in the unspoken sacrifice that weighed between them. No need for grand speeches or assurances. They'd grown up on a planet of unspoken truths, after all. In the harsh reality of Mars, actions mattered. Words less so, and Cade's action had said it all. He offered a tight nod, a silent thank you, and looked out to the Martian horizon. The unknown awaited him, a path paved by a friend's sacrifice. "Can I handle it?" Darius finally murmured. Not a question anymore, but a quiet acceptance of the adventure that lay ahead. Darius looked at his friend, then back at the ships in the depot. He took a deep breath, tasting the recycled metallic Martian air. Then he smiled, resolute and determined. "I guess we'll find out." Cade offered a curt nod back, his own silent acceptance of Darius's new course. They both turned their gazes towards the rising sun, one looking at a horizon soon to be left behind, the other at a future grounded in sacrifice. Darius's last week on Mars was a blur of frantic preparation. Amid the sharp tang of industrial lubricants and the steady hum of machinery, he performed his duties at the repair yard, each metallic clank echoing like a countdown. Between welding hull breaches and calibrating propulsion drives, he prepared for his voyage. Physical conditioning for extended zero-gravity exposure, psychological evaluations, basic piloting lessons, all crammed into 7 fleeting Martian days. It was difficult, the transition from observer to participant. His life was no longer confined to the rusted expanse of Martian highlands and the metallic familiarity of the depot. Now, he was about to board a ship not as a mechanic but as a passenger, his destination. Not another day at the repair yard, but the ice-shrouded moonscape of Europa. The goodbye to the repair yard was silent, no fanfare, no grand departure. The morning he left, Darius stood on the periphery of the yard, the giant silhouette of the freighter that would take him to Europa looming in the distance. He didn't say a word, just gazed at the yard, taking in the tableau of machines and men working in unison, remembering the rhythm of his life here. In that solitude, Cade appeared. "Getting cold feet?" Cade asked, walking up to join Darius, his gaze following the trajectory of Darius's. "No," Darius answered truthfully. "Just remembering." Cade nodded, understanding the unsaid. They stood there, 2 figures etched against the Martian sunrise, caught in the in-between of leaving and left behind. When it was time to depart, Cade drove them to the shuttle that would ferry him to the waiting freighter. The Martian terrain sped past them, a red blur through the window, while Cade navigated the vehicle with practiced ease. "Enzo's an all-right sort," Cade said, finally breaking the silence. His fingers played nervously on the wheel. "Heard he was one of the best pilots on the Ganymede run before he started freelancing. Keeps his ship in good shape. You'll like him." Darius nodded, watching the approaching silhouette of the freighter. "Thanks, Cade," he said, the gravity of his departure seeping into his voice. "For what?" Cade's eyes flickered to Darius. "For this, for everything," Darius said, his gaze still locked on the freighter. Cade just smiled, a sad one this time, and patted Darius's shoulder. "Don't thank me yet," he said. "Wait till you've dealt with zero-G toilet malfunctions or space rations." Darius laughed, a short, breathy sound that cut through the tension. His heart was pounding a wild rhythm in his chest, a strange dance of fear and excitement. Soon they arrived at the shuttle dock. Darius clambered out, his legs wobbly. Cade followed, pulling him into a rough hug. "Take care of yourself out there, Darius." "I will," Darius promised, pulling away and shouldering his bag. "And send messages, all right? Don't want to lose touch with the only other sane guy I know." Darius laughed, his nerves momentarily forgotten. "I'll try my best, Cade." With a last glance at his friend, Darius turned and headed for the shuttle. As he boarded, he found a seat by a window and watched Mars recede, Cade's figure shrinking until it was swallowed by the vast red expanse. His heart twisted at the sight. He was leaving, really leaving. But with the tightening knot of apprehension, there was something else, a sense of vast, uncharted possibility. His life had been grounded on the red dust of Mars, in the grease-streaked corners of the repair yard. Now, he was stepping into a bigger, more expansive story. It wasn't just about observing anymore. It was about participating, about living the journey, his journey. Gazing at the shrinking expanse of Mars, Darius Moreau, the repairman from the Cydonia depot, allowed himself a small, hopeful smile. He was ready for his story to truly begin.